on Open Throttle 360. We'll talk with the driver of a nitrous Pro Mod. We go karting with OT360 hosts Tom and Trip. We head to Baden, PA to check out a beautiful 66 Nova. We take a trip back to revisit one of the most famous racetracks in the area. And as always, take a look at some great GoPro. That's coming up on OT360.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Well, that's when I get rowdy. Just get on board, strap in, you'll understand that I'm wild, wild and crazy.
Welcome to Open Throttle 360. I'm Tom Lang.
And I'm Trip Clark. And Tom, we're about a quarter of the way through the season and we still have tracks to visit and cars to drive.
In case you've missed it, in 3 episodes we've covered Copo Camaros, tire management, train horns, a GTO, visited Lernerville, Speed Weeks, Thompson Raceway Park, the World of Wheels, and that's just a portion of it.
Yep, we've covered a lot. One of my favorite things to do is going to the drag strip. I love it. I learned a lot. I learned it's a lot more than just driving fast and keeping it straight. Everything from crew interaction, adapting to changing conditions, and not to mention the art of the burnout.
My name's Pat Moore. I drive the Richard Lockwood Racing 1966 Corvette. It's a nitrous Pro Mod. I've been driving cars like this for over 20 years. I started out in 1988 running Top Sportsman. In my second year racing, I won the World Championship. And then in 1990, I was looking to step up, and Larry Nance with the Cleveland Cavaliers was building the Pro Mod car. We set the world record, me and Larry, with the Catch-22 Camaro for the quickest carbureted nitrous car in the world. Win a 653 at 212 miles an hour. This car's kind of unique. It's a Lenco clutch car. Now people think that it might be easier to drive an automatic car, but I still think that the clutch car has more tunability. We can adjust each gear change separately, and I think some tracks it makes a difference on getting down the track.
This is a Lenco transmission. There's actually 3 separate transmissions, and each transmission has 1 gear change in it. So when you put 3 cases together, you got one up here, one here, and one here, that gives you a 4-speed transmission. The shifter's back here, and each lever controls 1 shift. So you start out in low gear, which will be first, then you go to 2nd gear, 3rd gear, and then 4th gear. And then you just hang on, and parachutes are up top. When you hit the finish line, hit the clutch, let off the gas, and pull the parachutes.
As the 1989 IHRA Top Sportsman World Champion, Pat's an expert when it comes to a vital step during preparation for a drag race, the burnout.
The clutch car is a little bit tricky doing a burnout compared to the automatic cars. The automatic cars, you roll through the water, and then you just put it in high gear and hit the gas and get your tires spinning good. With the clutch car, you have to roll through the water, get the tires wet, and then we have a front line lock that locks the front brakes. So once you lock the front brakes to keep the car from rolling, then you put it in 3rd gear, and then bring the engine RPMs up, dump the clutch, and as soon as the tires start spinning, then you put it into 4th gear, and then you roll out, do your burnout. And the whole purpose of the burnout is to get the tires nice and clean and hot. And you want to do the same thing every time. You want to do the same RPM and the same length of a burnout every run so that the crew has an easier time tuning the car. But once you do the burnout, you back up, and then we use radio, so I'm always in communication with my crew chief, and he tells me the groove that he wants me to be in on the racetrack. And he stops me and pulls me up a little bit, and then we stop the car again. And then we set the wheelie bars, and I have some stuff in the car I got to do with the nitrous. I have to turn the nitrous on and purge it and clear the lines out. That's the big white plume of smoke that comes out in front of the hood. And then I hit the buttons and boom the systems to get the gasoline up to the solenoids on the intake manifold. And then once all that procedure is done, then we pull up to the line and get in the beams and get ready to go. But yeah, the run only lasts 4 seconds, and if everything's not right, it's over a lot shorter than that. So hopefully everything goes right, the car goes down the track straight. If the car shakes or gets crooked, well, I've been in the cars long enough, I know that as soon as that happens, it's over. You have to lift and come back for the next run.
As a veteran of the sport of drag racing, has the speed and the thrill of the race stuck with him?
I've been driving for over 20 years, and you get used to it. It's kind of a seat of your pants thing. You get used to the speeds and the ETs. Most of the thrill anymore is in the competition. The speeds, you get used to it. It's still a lot of fun. It's become a lot of work though. It's not as easy as it was in the days gone by where you had a lot of fun racing and a lot of camaraderie afterwards with all your friends and stuff. And now when you're not racing down the track, you're generally working on the car, and it's a lot of maintenance. You got to keep on top of it, make sure all the bolts are tight and make sure everything's tuned up right. Yeah, we're going to have fun today.
Cool, that's what it's all about.
All right, so this is one of those rare occasions. I'm usually not a cocky guy, but I am going to school you today. I'm very confident in that.
So what, are you going to teach me better grammar or what? Because I'm going to tell you what, you're not teaching me anything out there.
I've done this once, but oh, you don't think so?
Oh, you did this once.
All right.
Okay, one time.
One time. And I felt like I went 12 rounds with Muhammad
Okay,
Ali.
folks, he did this one time. You think that's going to make him better than me?
But let me just tell you, the one time I did it against 10 other people, I had the best time on the track.
Yeah.
So whose money's on me?
It was a crippled 83-year-old lady
right here next to me. Whose money's on this guy right here?
I'm going with age.
Yeah. Age? Okay, who's going with me? Oh my Lord.
Okay.
There's some enthusiasm.
Hey, loser buys lunch.
All right, you heard it. Loser buys lunch. All right? You heard it? All right.
Okay, let's get this on.
But I am going to school you today.
Hey, since earlier today, I stomped the living dog snot out of Trip on the go-karts. You know where I belong? I belong in Victory Lane, brother. Yeah, Trip, you challenged me, I took you down, buddy.
Still to come, we talk with a guy who saved his whole life to buy his happy car. We'll pay tribute to a racetrack that started out for horses and ended up on the NASCAR circuit. And then later on, we'll go pro. That's next on OT360.
A family-owned and operated racing enterprise specializing in restoration work, chassis setup, transmission work, hard-to-find parts, and vintage car sales. Zappa Racing is the place to go for your road racing needs. Visit ZappaRacing.com and find out what the Fighting Bee is all about. Zappa Racing.
With more than 3 decades of experience and 130 suppliers under one roof, Ludy's Chevy Warehouse is your one-stop restoration shop for sheet metal, brakes, emblems, chrome, and more. Need restoration parts for Chevy Impala, Bel Air, or Biscayne? We've got a catalog for that. We've got parts for Tri-5 and Chevy trucks, Chevelle, Monte Carlo, and El Camino, Chevy Nova, and Camaro. It's all at Ludy's Chevy Warehouse. Call today for a free catalog or visit us at a swap meet near you.
I don't have to worry about sweating and my glasses falling off and, worry about running or anything like that anymore.
The thing that I remember most was people looking at you and saying, "What's different about you?" And then they realize you don't have your glasses on anymore.
It's fantastic. I can get up, see the alarm clock, know I'm late for work. That's the best thing. Carry on.
I think to myself, you're crazy not to do it.
Best tires, parts, and service. Tire Town.
It's hard to define or deny the bond that people form with their cars, for whatever reason, whether it's the car their dad owned or it was the car they picked up their high school sweetheart in. And frequently, even the most hardened personality turns to jello when talking about their car. But there's no denying that behind every car is a pretty good story. With the help of Bruce Harvey Pro Comp Custom, Open Throttle 360 wanted to talk with some of those car owners and share their stories.
When you see a sweet custom car, it's easy to be distracted by the shine of the chrome or the depth of the gorgeous paint job. But like a Picasso or a Rembrandt, there's a story behind these paint jobs. Sometimes it's stories of resurrecting high school memories. Sometimes the stories are even more poignant. Here's one of those stories.
My name is Tom Buchanan. I am from Baden, Pennsylvania, originally born and raised in Economy Borough, but I now live in Baden, Pennsylvania. Very familiar with this area. This is home country for me. My car is a 1966 Chevrolet Nova. Chevy 2, they used to call them. When I graduated from high school, it was 1968, and I always wanted a 67 Nova. And at the time, you know, things were crazy back then, money-wise and everything else, and with the Vietnam War and all that. And I never really got the car. I had quite a few other cars through my life, but I always wanted to get a 66 or a 67 Chevy Nova. I picked this car up in Meadville, Pennsylvania about 15 years ago as a stock Nova. Refinished it one time and I drove it for probably 13 years. And then I decided to do what I wanted to do years ago, and that was make a nasty looking, good running Pro Street car. Everybody said I was nuts for doing it because the car was super nice. It had all the original sheet metal and everything. Everybody said I was crazy for tearing it down, but you know, it's your car. You do what you want to do with your car.
And for someone like Tom Buchanan, that meant searching for the right person who had the chops to pull it off. That's when he discovered Bruce Harvey.
The main reason I chose Bruce was he does some really nice paint work, and the colors that we chose for the car, he really made them work out perfect. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything better than that. I was wanting a tangerine and a black. He suggested that we go with the root beer and with the tangerine dust and the root beer, and boy, am I glad we did, because when the sun comes out, it just totally makes the car look different, and when it gets darker in the evening, the root beer really comes out great in the car too. This car is actually built for the drag strip. It's a Pro Street car, but if I wanted to take it to the strip, there would be no problem. It's got the roll cage and it's all ready to do that. Everything under the hood and inside the trunk and inside the interior of the car all matches the outside, the way the colors flow from the bottom up. That was one thing that Bruce paid a lot of attention to, and I was very happy about that. People really notice that, and it's a real eye catcher when everybody's looking under your hood and they can see that you know how neat it is. That's the noisemaker.
If you're ever lucky enough to ride in the passenger seat of Tom's Chevy, it becomes very obvious just how much fun he has driving it. But what's his favorite part about owning the car?
I mean, this is something that I've wanted all my life, and to have people tell you that you did it right after waiting a lifetime and saving a lifetime, it really makes you feel good. You know, it makes me happy, but when you take it out, it makes the people around you happy. And when you're going down the boulevard and the guy passes you with his thumb sticking out the window, giving you the thumbs up, that's telling you something. Dream car, no. I think I had that car when I was 18 years old in high school. Boy, I wish I had it today. It was a 61 bubble top Chevrolet. It was one of very few made. If I had that car today, that would be my dream car, because they're very rare and they're hard to find. But for this to be considered a dream car, I wouldn't, like I said, I don't think I'd call it a dream car. I'd call it my happy car. It makes me happy.
Up next on OT360, a local track where greats Bobby Allison, Lee Petty, and local driver Dick Linder once got up on the wheel. And then we'll watch GoPro footage that our local drivers submitted. Don't go far. OT360 will be right back.
When we first started out, I thought that I was going to be helping someone. That is not how it has turned out. He has helped me and my family see things in a whole different light. He is our family. He's our unblood relative. He's my best friend.
Best friends.
Make a friend, make a family, make a difference.
If you're looking for parts for your car, truck, or van, you gotta come to Millerstown Pick a Part. We have the area's best selection of parts and we let you pick it yourself. We offer the lowest prices around, or if you'd prefer, we'll find the part for you. Millerstown Pick a Part. Parts for newer cars, classic cars, foreign cars, trucks, and vans. Located in Torrena, Millerstown Pick a Part is right up Route 28 from downtown Pittsburgh. Millerstown Pick a Part, 724-224-4777 or online at pickapartyard.com.
24/7, get the gear at PennStateClothes.com. Shirts, hoodies, gifts, jerseys, and sweats. PennStateClothes.com. You bet. The family clothes line with more in store. At Penn State Clothes, you get more. 24/7, get the gear at PennStateClothes.com. The family clothes line.
Looking for a one-stop shop for all of your dirt, drag, and street machine needs? Look no further than Hoosier Tire Mid-Atlantic and Precise Racing Products. Precise is the leading distributor for Hoosier Racing tires and VP Racing fuel for Pennsylvania and Maryland. We also have a wide range of parts and accessories for circle track, drag racing, and street performance. Visit PreciseRacing.com and enter coupon code OT360 to receive a free hat on your next purchase. Precise Racing Products. We sell speed.
A lot of us remember as kids going to tracks that sadly aren't there anymore. Open Throttle 360 will occasionally take time to revisit those local pioneers of the sport. If you have any suggestions of tracks for us to feature, send an email to info@openthrottle360.com.
For almost 3 decades, beginning in the late 1940s, Pittsburgh had a premier motorsports facility in Scott Township known as Heidelberg Raceway. Today it's home to Lowe's, Walmart, and a variety of other retail establishments. But back in the day, it was a local and national racers' paradise. I recently spoke with Dave Kohler, board member and Hall of Fame committee member of the Pittsburgh Circle Track Club, about Heidelberg Raceway.
Heidelberg Raceway was originally constructed to be a horse racing track. It was originally built by Heidelberg Sports Enterprises president Dave Wright. He, along with a number of other businessmen, including Art Rooney, the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, got the money together and built this track for horse racing. At that time, Pennsylvania did not have a license for parimutuel betting. Thus, the Heidelberg Raceway was born as a stock car track. Well, Ed Witzberger, a local businessman, he owned a number of tire dealerships in the area, and he purchased the racetrack and ran it basically through its entire existence. But he ran a very tight ship. He was very business-oriented. He loved racing, and it really showed in the type of racetrack that Heidelberg Raceway evolved into, the type of competitors that competed weekly there, brought in a lot of big names, and consequently the fans showed up. You know, obviously for the horse racing, they wanted a bigger type of track, so it started out as a half mile. They had the quarter mile inside the track. They even had a smaller track inside of the quarter mile, which was an eighth mile. In the center of the eighth mile oval was a crossover, an X, and they used it as a figure eight. Ultimately, they even had the front straightaway of the big track used as a drag racing track. You had 5 racetracks in one. There were always large crowds, and it was just a thrill and excitement seeing the guys compete, not only on the dirt track, but on the asphalt tracks. Different drivers that literally came from all over the United States and Canada. Guys like Bobby Allison, who would haul in from Birmingham, Alabama. He'd run weekly races. He'd win his share, but there were nights that he didn't win. You saw a lot of drivers who were either nationally known drivers or top local drivers. The track started out with a NASCAR sanction. Lee Petty, the father of NASCAR's winningest driver, Richard Petty, won his first ever NASCAR race at the Heidelberg Raceway in 1949. And local driver Dick Linder from the Brookline area, he was second in that race. Boy, you had a lot of guys that raced there locally. That probably the biggest name and the name that everybody thinks of when you mention Heidelberg Raceway was Herb Scott. You had a guy like Joe Mihalik. You had guys like Norm Benning, Tony Diano, Jim Bickerstaff. They were the guys that came in from Ohio. Tom Mayer, Bob Seneker, Ed Howe, who would come in from Michigan. They competed against the local guys, Don Diverts of the world, Johnny Orban, Bill Roush, Peanuts Eustons, Miles Witchey, Don Dale, Glade Neal. The list goes on and on and on from the early days to the latter years.
Reasons for the track closing range from the oil crisis to urban sprawl. There may be some truth to all of it, but according to Dave Kohler, the real reason may be, well, let's just say a racing incident.
1973, the area was growing up. Eventually it was going to go away. There was a situation that happened with some of the drivers. Joe Mihalik and Norm Benning got involved in an accident. Norm pretty much stuffed Joe in the wall. Joe got out of his car, took his helmet off, and whacked Norm in the elbow with his helmet, shattered his elbow. So they suspended Joe. The owner of Joe's car got the guys together, and they protested it, and they went on strike. Ultimately, that was the beginning of the end. Several years later, the track closed.
In the summer of 2012, 40 years after the last lap was run at Heidelberg, Dave Kohler and local racing historian and host of Rappin' on Racin', Don Gamble, made certain that Heidelberg got its due recognition, with a ceremony and plaque commemorating the raceway. Expecting 20 to 30 people for the event, more than 400 people showed up. A testament to the love that this region has for racing and to one of the best racing facilities we've ever had. If you want to learn more about Heidelberg Raceway, go to speedwayproductions.biz.
Still to come, drivers and racers from all over the area submitted their GoPro footage. See if yours makes the show.
When it comes to luxury and performance, Cadillac still sets the standard. Arnold Palmer Motors in Latrobe offers the best of Cadillac luxury, including the all-new 2014 ATS, a world-class compact luxury sedan that redefines the Cadillac experience. The Cadillac CTS, Motor Trend's 2014 Car of the Year, is in a class by itself for design, safety, and engineering excellence. Visit Arnold Palmer Motors in Latrobe today and test drive the best that Cadillac has to offer.
I feel like glasses and contacts is it's a crutch. It's like you would have a disability if you didn't have if I didn't have my contacts or glasses. It was like taking a wheelchair off of somebody who can't walk. They lose that. You just lose something for And LASIK surgery really, it gave something back to me that it was like giving somebody who can't walk legs.
It's the shortest procedure I think I've ever had medically, and it did the most.
With more than 3 decades of experience and 130 suppliers under one roof, Ludy's Chevy Warehouse is your one-stop restoration shop for sheet metal, brakes, emblems, chrome, and more. Need restoration parts for Chevy Impala, Bel Air, or Biscayne? We've got a catalog for that. We've got parts for Tri-5 and Chevy trucks, Chevelle, Monte Carlo, and El Camino, Chevy Nova, and Camaro. It's all at Ludy's Chevy Warehouse. Call today for a free catalog or visit us at a swap meet near you.
You too can be part of the show by sending us your GoPro footage. Just go to OpenThrottle360.com, click on the GoPro camera, and upload your footage. It's that simple.
Let us know you're watching and like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and keep the Gearhead conversation going on Twitter at #OT360.
Tune in each and every Saturday at 11 a.m. to Open Throttle 360 for the best in regional motorsports.
If you have any ideas for the show, suggestions, or comments, send us an email at info@OpenThrottle360.com.
And in the words of Bruce Springsteen, summer's here, the time is right for racing in the streets.
See you next time.
Next week on OT360, we ride along with a local teenager while she gets put to the test behind the wheel. We check out one of the area's coolest racing events, the Flashlight Drags. We'll check out a 2007 Mustang that's bad to the bone. We'll head south to Roaring Knob Motorsports Complex. And as always, we GoPro. That's all coming up on the next Open Throttle 360.